It's time now for our children's story.
See, the little ones are getting so big. Yeah. Well, some of you wasn't here last week. What happened last week? What was important?
Someone had a vision.
A what?
A vision.
A vision. But it was at an unusual place, wasn't it? In the middle of a funeral. That seemed kind of strange, didn't it? Just shows that the Lord will talk to you anywhere. All you have to do is just listen, you know? But it was at a funeral, wasn't it? And how long was the vision?
2 hours.
2 hours, that's right. It was a long one. And did she tell us what it was about?
No.
No. She doesn't always tell right away, does she? Well, they stayed there a couple more days, and then they left to go home. You know, it's nice to go home. And she has 3 boys at home, you know. So she kind of misses her family a little bit, huh? Well, they got on the train and they decided, let's stop and she felt impressed she should stop and see the, what was their name? The Palmers? I forgot. Yeah. And so they stopped to see them and they thought they would spend the night. So they were all sitting in the parlor and they were talking. Can you imagine what it'd be like to be sitting in the parlor listening to Sister White talk and James? It's like, whoa, you know. And they were talking, but all of a sudden, Sister White, she couldn't pronounce her words. Her tongue got real thick and it wouldn't want to move. And then she just kind of sat there and they're looking at her like, what's happening? And then James went over to her and she was like in a coma. She was just there. And so, of course, James and Mr. Palmer, they sat down and started talking and praying to the Lord and praying to the Lord. And Sister White couldn't move. She just sat there. All of a sudden, she was able to hear something, and she could hear James and him praying for her. And she heard them say, "Oh, my, this is a terrible stroke that she's had. We don't know what we're going to do." So this went on for a little bit of time. Finally, James decided to see if he couldn't get Ellen up. And he got her up a little bit, and they took a couple steps, and she sat back down. And they kept praying, and they're praying, well, maybe tomorrow morning we'll be able to get home, because they were so close to home. And you always, when you're sick, there's no place like home. So she wanted to go home. So in the morning, with James's help, she was able to still walk. Couldn't talk real well, couldn't hold too much, but she got home. And after she got home, weeks passed, and she just sat in her little rocking chair and looking up, and James is there helping her. And she felt good, but then she could still hear that angel, her accompanying angel. What did he tell her she had to do? She had to write, didn't she? And she knew right off the bat that this wasn't going to be an easy thing, what she had to write. So she asked James to go get her writing board. Janet didn't know what this was. It's her writing board. So he put it on her lap so that she could write. So she picked up her pen and she tried to write. She could only write like one sentence. And then she was exhausted. And so she kept trying, she knows, and she kept praying, Lord, give me strength. I know you want me to write this. You gave me this long vision. I need to write it. I need to get the book written. So each day she could do one more sentence and one more sentence, one more sentence. And she wrote the book, and it was 200 and some pages. What do you think the book would be that the devil wouldn't want her to write? What was it? That's right, The Great Controversy. He didn't want that book out, did he? No. But she got it done and got it to the publishers. And you know, that's called the Conflict of the Ages series. And there's 5 books in it. Do you know what they are? I hear little Gail. Patriarchs and Prophets, Prophets and Kings. You can tell me. Yeah. Acts of the Apostles. And everybody reads those, and they help us all so much, don't they? But the devil didn't want him to do the Great Controversy. That's why we're supposed to get it out. Mike gets it out really good over there. He knows to pass it out, and that's what we're supposed to do, isn't it? Read it, tell people about it, and remember it. There's another little book that's very good, and they have a couple little sentences here that she's got, and you're going to read it for me. Mm-hmm.
Language is altogether too feeble to attempt a description of heaven. As the scene rises before me, I am lost in amazement, carried away with the surpassing splendor and glory. I lay down the pen and exclaim, "Oh, what love! What wondrous love! The most exalted language fails to describe the glory of heaven or the matchless depths of our Savior's love."
Isn't it true when we read it and we hear about the Savior's love? She's got one more to read.
Jesus left the city, and the saints and a train of the angelical host followed him. Jesus descended upon a great mountain, which, as soon as his feet touched it, parted asunder and became a mighty plain. Then we looked up and saw the great and beautiful city with 12 foundations and 12 gates, 3 on each side, and an angel at each gate. We cried out, "The city, this great city, it is coming down from God out of heaven." And we came down in all its splendor and dazzling glory and settled in the mighty plain which Jesus had prepared for it.
I don't know. That's all from early writings. That is got to be the ultimate book that I thoroughly enjoy. I like all the other ones, but early writings. And Mother Mary, she loved it too. And I would say to her, "What do you want to hear?" And, "Oh, read that in early writings about when the Lord's coming." And it describes it and how the wicked will come and attack us and they won't be able to hurt us and he's going to give us food and water. But when it comes down, and she says in there, "Oh my, what a wonderful thing." That's on early writings, page 289 and 291. But you got to read that chapter before he comes. I don't know if it's been a while since you've read it in early writings, but it just makes it pop and know one thing. We all want to be there, don't we, on that wonderful day when we've risen. Now, next week I won't be here. I have a family little ditty, but then after that we're going to see what happens next. I think she gets home and has some family things or something. Okay?